idea for all this really came from a dream?
Yes, it did.
Good evening and welcome to Nox Mente. Tonight's guest is Rachel Pollack. Rachel is the author of 41 books, including 2 award-winning novels, Unquenchable Fire, winner of the Arthur C. Clarke Award, and Godmother Night, winner of the World Fantasy Award. She has also written a series of books about tarot cards known around the world, a book of poetry, Fortune Lovers, and has been translated with scholar David Vine, Sophocles of Oedipus Tyrannos, Oedipus Rex, under the title Tyrant Oidipous. She designed and drew her own tarot deck, the Shining Tribe Tarot. With artist Robert K. Place, she has created 2 more decks, the Burning Serpent Oracle and the Raziel Tarot. She has taught and lectured on 4 continents period. For 11 years, she taught in Goddard's College MFA writing program. Rachel lives in New York's Hudson Valley and is joining us tonight. Thank you very much and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought mine dropped out. Rachel, welcome to Nox Mente.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
I'm so glad. I already gushed on you in the pre-show, and everyone that read my tweet and anyone that knows me knows how much I just adore your work and feel honored that you're here. You're a sacred elder, and I'm just thrilled. So
And
thank
she's
you
collecting
again.
them.
Very happy.
So let's get right into this. Tell us about the world you grew up in as far as the stuff that sticks out, like the pop culture, things that stick out that kind of give us a foundation for where you are and how you moved forward in your life creatively.
So I was born in Brooklyn in 1945 and lived there till I was 9. And then we moved to Poughkeepsie, New York. And that's the place I consider home, even though certainly Brooklyn was home too. But I just feel Poughkeepsie is the place I grew up in, really. And then I went to college and graduate school, and then I moved to Amsterdam, in Europe. I was in Europe in 1917 in Amsterdam, most of the rest of London, and then came back. I now live in Rhinebeck, about 15 miles or so north of Poughkeepsie, but it's a village rather than a city. So that's the basic facts. In terms of pop culture, I remember loving comic books as a kid, and I still do. I've written comic books still do occasionally, which is one of my favorite things.
I do want to talk about Doom Patrol. So.
Yeah, thank you. And also, fairy tales were a very big thing for me as a kid. We used to get in public school, we would get beginning of each year a reader, sharpen our reading skills for the year. And I remember that I was always wait for it eagerly and look right away for what fairy tale they included. That was the part I cared about the most. Fantasy books, science fiction were very big deals for me. And also, I was a very big fan of Dr. Seuss, very young. I'm pretty sure the first book I read for myself was the first book Dr. Seuss wrote, which is something like to think I imagine it all on Mulberry Street, something like that. Whenever I go to Mulberry Street, I immediately think of that book. And that book was all about the power of the imagination. And so that, to me, is my theme in life, really. It's back in the 60s and the radical days, which was significant to me in college at the time, later on graduate school, there was a famous slogan, all power to the imagination. And that's still kind of my slogan. Sometimes I call myself a knight of the imagination, which is a bit common. Dreams have been a big
I love that
in my work. And I did a series of kind of surreal stories called Fake Dreams. And what they were parodies of the kind of ways dreams work. And there were loads of fun, really outrageous. That's kind of some of the influence I had. And I used to watch television, fantasy stuff, usual stuff that people were interested in way back then.
when you were young, did you have like the typical night terrors or fears of under the bed or in the dark, any of that kind of stuff?
I don't remember that actually. I don't remember having any of that, though maybe I did and I just forgotten it, But I will tell you, an amazing story that I really been in my mind a lot in recent years. So when I was around 9, I might not have that right. It might have been later, earlier. I think it is 9. I had a series of terrible nightmares every single night, and it was very scary. And my parents were very disturbed about it, doctors and stuff. Nobody really had a clue, what to do about it. And then they ended because my great grandmother told my mother, I didn't know about this, told my mother that to take a child's Jewish prayer book, a very big part of the prayer, and put it under the mattress. And the dream stopped. They just stopped. I didn't know this years later that that was there. So it was really a kind of wonderful magic moment that I found out about later. But the only dream I remember for all that time was a dream in which it doesn't even sound that scary, but it was somehow very scary. A dream in which the bears had either escaped from the zoo or come into the woods of the city and rounded up all the humans and imprisoned us in cages under the street. Basically, they were like the sewer poles, I guess this must have been like in New York City, in Brooklyn, because that's where you had sewers with grates, round grates for water to go down. You know? So I just remember we were all in there looking up through the grates of the kind of the cage, and there were the bears all staring down at us, and that's what I remember. And it was so frightening to have that feeling of being trapped and the bears staring down at us. And then years later, when I was doing research called the Body of the Goddess and traveling to sacred places in Greece and elsewhere, um, I went to a place called Broron. I think the current name is Verona, down on the very tip of the peninsula in Attica. And there was a temple to Artemis, so I went there to see. Artemis became very important to me as a goddess who was very personal to me. And I found out that at that place, she had girls who were 9 years old were taken to be her initiates. And they took away the human clothing and they dressed in bear skin. They were called bear cubs. So to me, that dream that I remember so vividly was Artemis claiming me
Oh,
as
wow.
one of her people. And as I said, and she'd already at that point, some years, very, very significant to me, ways that were both personal in terms of work I was doing. So it was a very powerful thing.
What do you think
That's
about the new moon landings being named Artemis?
Oh, I think it's great. It's about time.
Mm.
I mean, the name of Apollo was ridiculous because Apollo was Artemis' brother. He was
Right.
the god of the sun. She's of the moon.
yes.
I'm about to, May, I'm going to be leading another trip to Greece. I'm really excited about. We're going to a place called Delos, island near Mykonos, famous vacation island. And Delos has no modern buildings. There's no city, there's no town, there's no buildings, just some ancient temple statuary. And it's the birthplace of Artemis and Apollo. And so I'm really thrilled to be doing that, to go there and, connect to that.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I love this story, both for how it played out and how you tied it into your relationship with Artemis, and also the folklorish stuff of putting the book under your
Yeah, isn't that great?
mattress.
And it worked.
I really love the folklorish stuff, and it always, actually, I should say, it never surprises me when it does.
I know. Somehow, me too, but it also surprises me. I have both reactions.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
there's a wonderful tarot teacher and celebrant in California, San Francisco, named Thalassa, and she described that reaction that we have as TSRW, which stands for "this shit really works."
SRW. I've written
Yeah,
this down.
yeah, yeah. This shit really works. It's a great line.
Oh, it's good.
And
Well,
it's true.
it is true.
Yeah,
And I try to, I've been my whole lifetime trying to collect more folkloric stuff,
yeah,
just as they go. So I'm glad to have that.
yeah. In college, I kind of self-educated myself on mythology and folklore
Mm-hmm.
and tradition um, on my own. Totally, I wasn't taught in my classes. One or two classes referencing it, but not that much. And I didn't particularly know a group of people. I just did it on my own. I just got interested. And I just found all the books I could, and I just ever since been doing that, reading wonderful studies and things.
Yeah, it's, oh, I can tell from your body of work too that, I mean, it's all the folklore, all of this beautiful magic and mythos. It's so interwoven with your body of work.
Yeah.
So I want to, so here too, in a dreamscape. So this nightmarish stuff, do you remember being a child that was a heavy dreamer or not?
Not before that. I don't remember if I was or not. I imagine I must have been since I've been a heavy dreamer all my life otherwise. So probably was when I was young too.
Yeah, that would make sense. And it's hard. Well, one of the things we get to a little bit later is this thin line between memory and dream.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's such a thin line. So let's get to the architecture of dreams. Like, how do you, and this could be, I guess, more specifically, if things have changed, give us a hint on that. But how, in general, do you experience the dreamscape? And what I mean by that are the mechanics, the color, taste, sound, all that.
I don't have that vivid a memory of those kinds of sexual qualities. They're mostly kind of events, And
Mm-hmm.
most of my dreams are, fairly pedestrian, kind of a little bit disturbing, sometimes a lot disturbing, sometimes happy, but they're not spectacular and they're not strange and weird. For the most part, they're sort of like life situations. Most of the time, not pleasant ones. There's a famous psychiatrist, I forget who it was now, who said the great preponderance of dreams are unpleasant, which is a very important statement because I think that, in popular culture, dreams are often thought of as kind of like wispy, kind of wonderful things, you know? Um, the number of decks, dream tarot decks and dream oracle decks, and the pictures are nothing like dream. They're these like beautiful, strange, airbrushed, pretty things. No one dreams like that. Um, so, that's most dreams for me. But some dreams, the kinds I remember pretty much forever, are dreams that go to a whole other level that are, deeper and connect to supernatural kind of thing. But those are kind of initiatory dreams, dreams that take place. Those are the ones that really stand out in my mind. But the quality of the dream is usually not that different than the quality of daily life. Just the events are strange.
See, that was kind of the connection I was trying to make. I do want to side note here. Yeah, this is why I don't use these other kinds of decks like dream decks and stuff like that. I can't pull up to them. I just cannot do it.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and I'm not quite sure why people think dreams have these wonderful, magical, little wispy fairyland kind of quality. I don't understand it. I
And
maybe it's because I don't have those dreams. Maybe other people do. So maybe I'm just being too narrow in my perspective. That
Maybe.
maybe lots of people dream like that, but I don't.
Ask Nish what you were asking me about the dream tarot divination thing before the show.
Oh, what I was saying was that I did this thing with dreams and tarot. I learned from a woman named Gail Fairfield many years ago. Read her wonderful book, Voice Centered Tarot. Also, I think it's called Everyday Tarot. Anyway, but Gail Fairfield came up with it's like one paragraph in her book. That book is amazing. She these short little things, and they'll be stuff I'll be doing for 20 years, and developing on my own way, but pretty much sticking with Gail Fairfield. But so what she suggested with dreams, that you write down the dream. Because the dream you cared, you want to interpret, you want to understand better. You write it down, and then you write it down as a sequence of steps, events, feelings, things you experience, things you see, whatever stands out to you as a moment in the dream of some significance. And then you shuffle the tarot cards, and then you pull a card for everything you've written down. So there's most times when people use tarot to interpret dreams, they're asking questions about the dream,
right.
saying, "What does this dream mean? Why is it important? What should I do about it?" Etc. Etc. But this is a totally different thing. This is what some people in psychology call doubling. So you have a set of images from the dream, and you double it with the images from the tarot. And what I say when I talk about this in my classes is that dreams are a private symbolic language, and tarot is a public symbolic language, or at least a shared symbolic language.
Yes.
So the tarot will give us entry into our own language of the dream by bouncing off something that's more, not exactly cultural, but it's not just personal. And the effects are extremely dramatic. I mean, sometimes it's building people's lives up in phenomenal ways, really reveal things about their dreams they never would have understood otherwise. that are sometimes are life changing. It's an amazing thing to do, and I do it, sort of not exactly every year of a class, but kind of every other year, pretty much. Really often.
What book is this?
Gail Fairfield's book, I think it was called Choice Centered Tarot, and has been reissued as Everyday Tarot. I hope it's still in print. It's a great
Choice into Tarot.
Choice Centered.
Oh, centered.
Yeah,
Okay.
tarot or Everyday Tarot.
Okay, I will look at because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah,
So
not enough people are, and so people should be. 'Cause it's wonderful. It's real. It's fun. People talk about the tarot kind of revolution that happened in the '80s. With my book and Mary.
oh yeah, yes.
And
Mary Kay Greer, awesome.
yeah, and then Gail Fairfield was like a big part of that, but not everyone knows her.
Yeah, you know what? It had to have been around in my circle. I was really, I mean, this is kind of my coming 2 years, but I was deeply steeped in all of this.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Mary Kay Greer's workbook, and then your 78 Degrees. So I feel like I've encountered this, but I'm gonna look it up. And anything you recommend that is around tarot, I am there.
Okay.
Okay, so back to
Yeah. Hello? Okay.
let's see, where was I?
She drops out
My
sometimes. Just
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, it's the gremlin. So so back into the mechanics of how you dream. So we got some of that. I want to maybe look at place. So are there places in your dreamscape that you return to that may of course have altered, or something that you are always familiar with them no matter how they've altered?
No, I don't think so. To be honest, I don't. I don't think I have a sense in individual dreams of I'm coming back to a place I know.
Okay.
So for me, each dream seems to be itself and not part of the series, as far as I can tell.
Well, that's interesting. And I definitely don't mean a series. So like I have like there's like I'll go places and I'm like, oh, I know this place, and somehow it's changed, but I know it. Or a house that's really familiar. I actually have a house I go to, but it's never.
Really, how interesting! Wow.
Yeah.
I've not experienced that.
Yeah, it's pretty common for me, but and it's about 50-50 with all the people I've talked to and all the research I've done. So it's just of interest. And then also back on these small little details, are you able to read in dreams?
Wow, that's interesting. I've never known. I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried it. Wow, that's a really good question.
Yeah, it's one of those things that some people can, some people cannot, and there's some conviction around it with some people that suggest it's impossible. So
I think I've heard that. Yeah, that's interesting. But I don't know. I have not personally heard of people who've experienced that. And it's kind of interesting you mention it, because since I read so much in my waking life, you'd think I would try to read, but I don't remember that happening.
yeah. Well, for me, it's pretty blurry, and it all breaks down to glyphs, more so like our symbols. And if I try to hone in on anything, so I'm kind of in the middle, I think, with that. And then on another aspect of just your basic dream stuff, what about mood?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends if it's going to be a happy dream or not a happy dream. So sometimes there's a mood of kind of a bit of anxiety. Sometimes a happy moment to see what's going on. I don't feel there's that much through things in my dream. I don't feel like there's things that continue from one dream to another. Each dream seems to be itself.
Uh-huh.
Certainly there are a lot of the usual kind of things. I'm trying to get somewhere and I can't get there. That kind of anxiety dream that everybody has, which I parodied in stories, things about that.
Yeah.
Someone trying to get somewhere and can't do it. So there's those. There's the famous thing about after you've been to college, you dream that you realize that an exam's coming, and of course you forgot to ever attend classes. You know that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when I started teaching, I dreamed that I had scheduled to teach a certain class, and forgot to ever show up.
Oh, no.
And now it was exam time. And I was supposed to give an exam and grade people. So um, there's a famous New York Times columnist named Russell Baker. I think it's Russell Baker wrote about this, humorist, and he said that he imagined the president dream that he was elected president and forgot ever to go to the White House, and now it's 4 years later he's up for re-election.
Oh.
Forgot to ever show up.
Oh my
So
God.
that's a kind of universal.
Yeah, that's
Anyway, see, most of my dreams are really pedestrian, you know,
yeah,
except for
sounds
those,
like
except for this dream, spectacular.
yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds like yours are like just the basic working through, your
Yeah,
the daily stuff or mental chatter, that kind of that level.
like
So
should I tell you a dream that's not like that, or do you want to wait on that?
yes. Oh yeah, I want to get into all of
So,
that,
so here's
especially
a dream that really was wonderful, and that it won't sound that way at first, but it was just a spectacular experience to have. So I dreamed that I was on a subway train. My cousin used to live in Far Rockaway in New York, and to get there from the rest of I guess from Brooklyn, you had to go over a bridge. It's kind of long. It was the longest ride between stops in the subway. It's like 9.5 minutes over this iron bridge for water, you know. But so in the dream, we're in this car, the subway car, and it's a bit grimy. The subway cars often are. And we go over this bridge. The city's behind us, Manhattan's behind us, and we come, and suddenly the subway line ends in the woods, and we're just there in the woods, you know. And then I become aware that people in my subway car are being called into the car in front of us, and they're apparently being on trial or something, but apparently they're being executed, being killed, you know. And then it becomes my turn, and I can't remember if I was even that anxious. I remember, like, saying to my cousin, "Wait here" or something like that. I don't remember going to the room. I don't remember being executed, being killed. But I remember coming back out of the room where I was executed and sitting down and saying to my cousin, "Oh, that was great. I should have done it years ago." And then the train leaves. We start going back back on the lines. And instead of this grimy old, it was one of those really old subway trains, one of the old subway trains, these had this kind of rattan seat. So it's something you'd make in camp somehow. Anyway, but it was one of those all kind of things. And then all of a sudden, all the seats were gleaming, you know, and the walls were gleaming, like light was coming off of them. Everything was, and we're going over the bridge, and I look down at the bridge, which is dull iron, and now it's golden. And then I look ahead into Manhattan and the skyscrapers, and they're all made of crystal. And and the light is everywhere. And I realize that I'm entering the heavenly city. And that's when I woke up.
oh wow, that's
Isn't that
incredible
incredible?
imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. What did you end up making of that?
I didn't. I just felt it. I had it as an experience because it was so wonderful. I've never even done the tarot reading about it because the experience was perfect. I don't know that
Yeah.
I should sometime, but it might be
I
nice.
yeah, I leave my dreams alone often unless
Yeah, I mostly do.
something ominous that I feel like I need to maybe take heed from. But the imagery alone, I love the crystals. Oh,
Oh, it's just such an astonishing thing. But I mean, so it was, my friend Peter Lamborn Wilson, I don't know if you know his writing, he's a brilliant writer. He's written about initiations and dream initiations in particular. He would say, well, this was an initiation. Because
yeah,
initiations often involve death and rebirth.
yeah, yes, of
Um,
course.
but there was no master. There was no, if there was a spiritual master, he or she was in the car of execution. And I don't remember it. Um, but I should, I'll have to do a reading and see what comes out. I think that would be, it might be something really startling.
How long ago was that one?
Oh, many years ago. I don't remember how long ago.
Yeah.
And that's, I remember that. I remember, there's a few dreams you never forget, including some of the scary ones. I'll tell you the scariest dream I've ever had. It's very short.
I was just gonna ask for one of the scary
Yeah.
ones.
My mother sadly was killed in a car accident. One of the most dreadful moments of my life. And sometime afterwards, not that long, months I think, not years, I dreamed there was a knock on the door. And I opened it. And my mother was standing there. and she didn't know she was dead, and it was her body was all mangled from the accident, and I woke up with that kind of terror thing of gasping for breath. It was somehow so terrifying,
Did
horrible, mangled, dead person know she was dead. And
that's incredible.
I think it was still like she was trying to come back into the world of the living because she didn't know she was dead. She couldn't accept it,
I haven't heard that before. And this was after you knew she had passed,
Oh,
right?
some months after. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people have the precog dreams with their loved ones that
Yeah.
they're in touch. Did you have more dreams with her before or after that, like around the time she passed?
Not any particular ones that stand out in my mind. Because obviously I had dreams of my parents, but nothing that was special particularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing though, really truly. A lot of people have they know beforehand because they were informed through the dream that wherever we are in the dream space, they've been informed by it.
Yeah.
And so after that dream though, when she did not know she was dead, have any other follow-ups to that? Did she pop up after that, and how was the emotional aspect?
Well, since I didn't really have, I didn't have a desire to explore it that much and really pursue what it was about. It just was something I experienced and accepted.
Yeah.
It didn't have a lot of didn't follow up very much, particularly this thing just by itself because it was so powerful.
Yeah.
Like the execution, which of course is also about death. But lately, I've become very aware of magical things in my life. And one of them has to do with something that happened when I was 18, which is that I was diagnosed as having terminal bone cancer. I had this thing on my neck, my shoulder neck, the slump. My mother spotted it one day. We were outside, and she very casually asked me if I'd been having any pains or anything in my arm. I said, "Oh, well, I've been having this tingling, and my arm goes numb." I said, "Oh, well, we should take you to the doctor." She was terrified out of her mind. I didn't know what it was. Oh, and so they told my parents. They took an X-ray, and they said, "Well, you'll have to open up and see, but we're pretty sure it's bone cancer and it's terminal because it had spurs. The way bone cancer spreads to other parts of the body is spurs come off it. They go into the bloodstream." So my parents then, without telling me, went into this really heavy-duty praying session, and they made these vows because we were Jewish and fairly traditional, but not that observant. So the house was kosher and they never ate pork. They would eat a hamburger in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So they made a vow to be completely kosher. I was spared. And the doctor opened me up, and what they found was a calcium deposit, which no one had ever heard of before. It was this very strange thing. The doctor got to write an article for one of the big medical journals. The operating theater was packed with people because they'd never seen anything like it before. It took them 4 hours to get rid of the hammer and chisel.
Oh.
When I woke up, if you have heavy duty anesthesia, no time passes. Not like when you sleep.
Right.
And so you wake up an instant later. So I went, I was drifted off to sleep, and like 2 moments later, I woke up in agonizing pain. The worst shock I've ever had in my life, But so I recovered, and then my mother, some years later, for something we were talking about, she told me about, this vow and that they'd made and that she felt God had spared. And then years later, just years ago, I was writing a letter to someone. We were talking about what's called conversion stories. When someone says that, their child was sick and they prayed to Christ or God or whoever they would pray to, and the child was healed. These are often Christian conversion stories, So now they're a believer, And I was writing to him. I said the trouble with that is that all over the world, any moment, there's probably 1 million people or more praying for someone to heal, and it doesn't happen. You can't use that as your evidence, Then,
Right.
wait a second. Wait, I'm one of those people. I'm one who was healed, That's told in the story. And then I started to do a tarot reading about it in the class. So I said the first question I asked was, what happened when I was 15? And the card that came up was Chariot. And what I really wanted to ask was it cancer? And my parents' prayers changed it. But I couldn't do this. I just said, what happened? And the card was the Chariot. People were talking in the class about willpower and surrendering the will and letting God take the reins, all this stuff like that. And they said, wait a second, wait. What's the astrological sign associated with the Chariot? And they said, no, they said, it's Cancer. So
Oh.
the deck found the only possible card to say, without question, yes, it was Cancer, and it was changed. And so then I said, what was my parents' part in it? And it was the Nine of Swords, the woman sitting up in bed with her hands
Yes.
covering her face and she's weeping. And that, of course, was my mother. No?
Oh my
Then I said, what impact did this have on my life? And it was a high priestess. So even though I was not aware of what was happening in that experience until much later, it kind of set me in the direction of my life, of being someone who pursues mysteries, who's things, tries
Yes.
to share them. And then I said, what lesson do I still have to learn? And the card was death.
Oh.
And so, I thought, oh, well, I didn't die then, so I haven't learned that lesson yet. But I've recently become so fascinated by the idea that maybe I did die.
Yes.
And maybe I've been dead ever since.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds completely, psychotic. And I don't believe it in any kind of, oh my God, it's true. But it's just this idea, And so I now I wonder if that dream I had about my mother didn't know she was dead. Really, I didn't know I was dead.
Yeah, this
There's
is a
some
big subject here, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, there's
Oh, really?
there's one of friend of the show who has a whole thing about how he has a theory that we all died in 2012. I know it's
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's right. 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
So
then-
yeah, I mean, of course, Philip Dick writes about that stuff a lot.
yeah.
Philip Dick
Yes,
is one of my great, gurus.
of
Writing.
course. Philip Dick was a master.
Yeah.
But I just love that you brought that in here naturally, because it is a place we go to on Nox Mente often,
Ah,
questioning, because all these lines are really so blurry, and in the end, life's transient, like everything else seems to be. And so I've been questioning if I had died
hello?
experiences I had, that there's just no way. How did I come out? Did I robot out?
Yeah,
Well-
you do it like every 5 minutes. It's just the way it is. Every show,
no.
every time.
You see, this is the show for me, obviously. Place where I'm at home, obviously.
It happens when she gets excited, and then it.
It's true.
There's that famous line in radio. They talk about dying on air. You have a whole different take on that.
It's been my twist.
It's dying live.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, this is phenomenal, though. Okay, so but
I
before
I can imagine you doing a show that begins now, live from the land of the dead.
well, and it's even perfect because we're in October, where
Yes,
we're-
that's true. Yeah.
okay, so before we get into those, I wanna see about your relationship with like lucidity in the dreamscape, and as far up as out of body or astral projection.
That I've not had much. To be honest, I don't pursue lucidity, but they teach lucidity. Usually, it's the context of gaining control over your dreams.
Yeah.
And my feeling always is, shouldn't there be some part of your life you don't control? Because I think that dreams should be left out of our control. But I understand that people are on a kind of more journey to do more stuff with their dreams in the dream, so that's what they want to do, and I get that. But I have not pursued that particularly. I've also not had astral out of body experiences. I think I don't want to. I think it's not because the experience would be frightening, because the physical experience separating would be frightening.
Yeah.
For a while, I was doing intense tarot meditation, which is use of tarot cards as spurring of energy. And I started having these sensations of, first of all, I had a sensation of myself separating from my body to the left. Never quite happened until it was going to happen. And then I would feel that my body was massive as the earth, but was rising up and leaving me behind. It was very strange.
Yes.
So I interpreted someone told me it was basically a Kundalini experience, and I knew I was not ready to handle it, so I just backed off meditating.
Well, for me, those experiences, especially when you get really large or really small,
Uh-huh.
and all that, and started having this at a very, very young child, and I had a bad experience as a child, so that it
Really?
was all anything outside of my body was welcome.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so I'm like, ooh, I want more of this. But what I have learned, especially just in my life of being a prolific dreamer and then talking so long about dreams with people, that and so I'll come back to this. That for me personally is always a cue that I'm getting ready to leave the body.
Okay.
And so more so than a Kundalini experience, but that's just my personal take on it with that particular experience. And the key word you said was that you're getting bigger, and it's those kinds of things. Like I would even rotate and I'd fall down. I remember falling under my bed and into the
Wow.
floor. So yeah, those things I personally think you're on the verge of leaving your body. And also the fear of being out of the body is real. Most people experience it. And usually
Yeah,
that's where I
I've heard that
snap
too.
back in. I jerk back in because I think I'm dying or I've died.
Well, for me, it was just very unsettling physical sensation.
Yeah.
Um, and it was an unpleasant one, particularly this thing of shifting to the left.
Yeah.
Which, I know it kind of like intellectually because I know people who've been deeply involved in the etheric body and the astral body. So I know about this idea, but to experience it without feeling ready for it was kind of disturbing.
Yeah. And how old were you when you experienced that?
This is an adult.
Yeah.
Like 30.
Yeah. I think because mine was so young and I was having such a bad
Yes.
experience, it was welcome.
Yeah, I can imagine that totally.
And so
And most
yeah.
people I know who have had, actual projection, out of body experiences had a great time,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I find them completely pleasurable once I get past and you know what, Rachel, this never ends. Every time I do get out, because it's not common. Every time I do get out, I'm lucky the times I don't think I've died because I always jerk back in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
times that if I get past that barrier, which I think is, you know, the mind chatter saying, "Oh Lord," and that's where I get stopped up. So again, it's a losing control thing.
Yeah. I had a friend years ago, and we were adults, we were both teaching at a college, and he just had these spontaneous out of body experiences. At the time, usually was very tired, like, and so one time he went to San Francisco, and as he was going into town on the bus, he just went out of his body and things. And the next day, he just remembered everything he'd seen. And then one time he was in college, he did it, and he floated over to his girlfriend's dormitory and floated through the walls, and she and her roommate were dancing in their underwear. So the next day, he just wanted to confirm whether it happened or not. He said, "Were you and your roommate dancing in your underwear?" And she hit him.
Oh.
She thought he was a peeping Tom. But I guess he got his answer. It was true,
yes,
He
that's a
actually seen
solid
it,
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with this whole aspect of this, those solid hits reaffirm as you imagine,
Yes, yeah.
and all that reaffirmation pushes the experience.
Let me ask you this. So would you say these experiences are related to dreaming? Is dreaming also a kind of out-of-body experience?
Well, the lucid stuff, and
Okay.
so for me, yeah, they are.
Okay.
See, this is why I like this field. Is there's it's on a level playing field. It's like death, right? We all think, we all have our relationship with these. We all dream, and even if we don't remember it, but the experience can't really be, as much as science does get in there and neuroscience is it's still like this untouchable land. It's still the Badlands in a way,
Yeah.
like death. So I don't pull up to anyone with empirical knowledge regarding this stuff.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's where I stand, because I feel like it's the Badlands still.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we got all kind of that basic stuff. I wanted to explore any dreams you may have brought, since the symbolic language, and you in particular are interesting because you deal in symbols with the tarot, and also with your novels and stuff. It's just everything's so symbolically rich around you. Has any of that been informed by dreaming, or how does this, is there an interconnection here at all for you?
Well, two things. First of all, I sometimes will use the experience of a dream in my writing, particularly my fiction. In fact, I'm doing a novel now about a woman. It's inspired by accounts of people who turn into animals, and this, werewolves, the world says a sacred calling, kind of. And so, and also by the, I collect fountain pen, and I sometimes written novels based upon the name inscribed on the side of the pen. It's an antique pen. I got this wonderful antique gold pen, and it had the name of R.P. Wolf. I mean, Rachel Pollack werewolf. So I knew about this whole subject of werewolf cults. So I'm writing a book about that, but I decided to have the character be based somewhat on me. So I include the whole thing about the dreams of 9-year-old and Artemis. That's part of it. So I'm starting to bring some of my own experience, including dreams, to my writing. Not the dream experience story, but the characters having the same dreams I have.
I love that. That's rich too. I mean, I think it grounds it even deeper. What about when you're working on your different tarot decks? And so again, you're deeply immersed in working on something that's heavily symbolically coded, that's a symbolic language. Did you in those particular periods find a shift in your dreamscape?
Not too much, I'm sorry to say, but the thing is that the work I do sometimes is so associated with the same kinds of things that people experience in dreams. I'm experiencing them kind of in waking life, not as a kind of like shamanic experience, just something where the imagination goes, if you give it space, and things that inspire me from mythology and spiritual practices around the world. So there's not that much difference in time. And so, for instance, I did a tarot deck called the Shining Scribe Tarot that I pictured myself. And I decided at the very beginning it was not going to be a deck where I had a concept. I wanted to plan out what the cards are going to be about and plan out the symbolic images. Instead, it was going to be purely what came to me, things that just came to me. I don't remember offhand. I'm sure there were dreams, but I don't remember offhand any particular cards. The things people told me, a lot of things I saw, a lot of things in tribal art, cave art, aboriginal art, all kinds of influences, statuary from China, things I would just see, which would lead to something that I would just connect to. And so, in that sense, it's the same kind of territory, but not using my dream. And then another recent book called Child Eater has a lot of dream material in it. But again, it's not my dreams, it's the character's dream. I think I just feel such a connection to the dream landscape, as you say, that I can just use it imaginatively. I don't have to use my own. I don't have to take my own dreams and take it there, and vice versa. The stories don't have to go into my dreams. My stories already are.
Yeah, well, especially since you actually one of these people like myself that questions whether you died or not.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a recent thing. I'm a little wary of going too much into that because you could end up crazy.
Well, there's always, I mean, I think it's good to remain grounded, but it's wonderful to entertain the concept if you can remain grounded.
It's so fascinating. Yeah.
It's really I think it's rich, and the thought that comes to me is that more people since the 2012 experience especially are coming round to that as a possible idea that has grit to it, that may have something, because there's a certain idea of immortality anyway with people who don't believe in complete annihilation after death. You know, that there's more to this experience.
To me, that question of what happens after you die is so open. One of my basic attitudes is that if it was possible for us to know what happens after you die, everybody would know it. And we wouldn't have all these competing ideas.
Yep.
But, you know, it would be like, you know, it's possible to go to Cleveland, so we know what Cleveland is like. You know?
Exactly.
But so the fact that we don't know, we don't have a clear idea what happens if you know. We have lots of people saying what they know, but they're all at least slightly different. So I think the truth of it is somewhere kind of, in a sense, above or below all those different accounts. That those accounts are fed by what the real experience of death, and then into our conscious minds we come up with ideas, theories.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the dreamscape as well. It's like death, where no one really knows. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of postulation, all that, but it still remains a personal experience. It still remains something we all have access to and do, or can do at least. And death is that same way. There's a sacredness to it, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah.
So, you know, and even that said, in your book Tarot Wisdom, I like all the little examples you give, the little anecdotes here and there from your personal journey as well, with certain cards. So you're living the way I'm perceiving it too, in the way the symbols are so rich in your life, in your daily waking life, is that you're kind of living a dream. You're kind of living in a dreamscape.
Yeah, there's something of that. Yeah.
And
yeah,
I mean, you've created.
You know, I think everybody is, but most people don't realize it. But that sounds very arrogant, because everybody should be like me, which I don't believe. But you know, I sometimes say that, you know, the first rule of magical life is pay attention.
Yes.
You know, and that's it. Just pay attention. You know? And then I expanded to the thing that I've written about now, and quite a few stories other places, which I call the first directive. See what there is to see, hear what there is to hear, touch whatever you touch, speak the thing you. So it's really all about paying attention, present, really noticing things. And if you go on a sacred journey, like the journeys I've taken to places, I'll be going to Greece in May, and it really sharpens your attention. At least it should, and you start seeing the most amazing things that it might have happened anyway, but you don't really notice them. You notice them in a different kind of way, in a powerful way.
So kind of in this thread, do you think that where are your thoughts here with the I want to say this, so people that don't have the amount of freedom that others do as far as choice in creating their world, that are stuck with like 9-to-5 hard jobs and stuff like that, are on the rat race, and in that more so. Some of us have more of a monastic experience, and we've kind of lined our lives up that way, however synchronistically. Is it, and so in kind of the modern vernacular, some of these people are being called NPCs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with all that.
Tell me what that is. Initials stand for?
Non-player character. And
non-clear?
Non-player character. It's like a video gaming terminology.
Okay, no, I don't. Yeah, okay.
And so it's like, and even Dolores Cannon, I think she called them, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she called them like filler people.
Background people.
Yeah, background people.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
So with that said, though, and this whole idea of the general public coming to more of a that we see, that we're talking around, and people in these circles are talking about, is we're kind of raising the people that are on the rat race, that don't seem to question it. They just go with everything. It's work, sleep, repeat, work, sleep, all that.
But I wonder how many of them actually feel that way. I think that everybody has depths that don't show. Some people get the chance to show those more than others.
Yeah.
I once had this theory that you could walk down any street, any city, any town, and stop anyone at random. And if you started asking them and they started telling you about their lives, about their families, their friends, you'd hear the most incredible stories.
Yeah.
Stories that would just astonish you.
That's my
And I really
dream
believe
job.
that. Sorry, what?
That's my dream job.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could do it as a book. Someone, who Studs Terkel was, the columnist and a writer? He would interview people about work, But you could interview people about their lives, and you could do a whole book like that. It would be an amazing book, You'd have to have the knack of getting people to talk to you, though. That would be the hard part,
There we go. I have no problem
there.
getting people to talk.
Yeah, okay. Well, try it and see what happens.
I read my first Studs Terkel book when I was 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it working?
No.
I love that. I love that.
It was working, yes.
Incredible book, just amazing, And
But
it really just brings to mind, the reality of people's lives as opposed to this dismissive fantasy that intellectual elites have about people,
Yeah. That's why they're the elite.
Yeah.
It's, everyone I encounter personally that talks, that gets out of their mode and talks, and usually wherever I go, there's people, even standing in the market line, people are chatting. I always get a depth from them, but when I look out into the masses, or say at the shopping analogy again at the market, I get bumped around, people are just reaching for something and they'll just go right in front and stuff. Those kinds of experiences where I question this about that whole NPC thing, or the filler people.
Yeah.
They're rushing, they're always in a hurry, they're not in the now, they don't seem to be living in a way.
There's a certain strain of science fiction that mimics psychotic fantasies. And I actually wrote an article about this. I called it Invasion of the Android Snatchers. Philip Dick's Android from Electric Sheep, and then Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which are examples of science fiction stories that mimicked psychotic fantasies. But one of them is the fantasy that everybody is filler, And there's wonderful science fiction stories that play with that idea. Robert Heinlein wrote a story called Them, or They, maybe They, yeah. And in the story, somebody is in a mental hospital in Boston. And he's there because he has this delusion that he's discovered that he's the only real person in the world, that the world has been taken over by aliens, and they put up this fake reality to keep him convinced that he's living an ordinary life, And so a psychiatrist is trying to explain how absurd this, how ridiculous this is. And he's kind of adamant. He discovers by accident. He turned a corner and he saw how the buildings were fake. They were fake buildings, and they were put there to impress him. And so all the people on the street were fake. They weren't real people, killers. And then he's insistent. So God says, "Well," he said, "we're not getting anywhere. I'm going to send you to a specialist in New York." And then we follow the psychiatrist into his office. He picks up the phone. He says, "Okay, take down Boston, set up New York." So, and there's a whole bunch of science fiction stories like that.
The Truman Show is a lot like.
Oh, the Truman Show is the great Gnostic film of all time. It's basically a Gnosticism. It's the world's not the real world. The Truman Show is pure Gnosticism.
Yeah.
I have a whole theory that there's a genre of movies that are Philip Dick movies that Philip Dick never wrote. And the Truman Show, and what's the one where the everyday world is fake, and you know what I mean?
The Matrix.
Oh, The Matrix?
Matrix, yeah. Those movies. Yeah, those are Philip Dick style movies. But the Truman Show is pure Gnosticism. There's a moment at the end where he's finally going to escape the real world, and the producer, speaks him from the clouds, from the moon, actually, the fake moon. And he says to her, he says, "I am the creator of the Truman Show." Yeah, so that means so there's science fiction stories that will mimic that perception, and that's also kind of like that whole thing between fantasy, dreams, mythology, um, psychosis, this whole range overlap in all those things.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's the thing. And it seems to be, I know I've noticed just looking back, it seems to be certain themes are lying around in the ethers, if you will. And
Uh,
the creative people of the time seem to all be picking up on whatever that is that's out there and then
True. Yeah.
express it through the
Yeah. That's
arts.
true.
And so, what are your thoughts on that? How, it's, Phil K. Dick certainly is a good example of that.
Well, Dick is, he's so interesting because I think that, like, he's most famous for with a lot of people for his Gnostic work. The Exegesis, his later novels, Valus or Valus, however it's pronounced.
Yeah, yeah.
I find that very sad because to me, his greatness is in that the kind of like not exactly a borderland, but that's like knife edge between psychosis and fantasy. You know, and I felt like in some of that later stuff, he fell over the edge into believing that his inspirations were genuine. And some of his greatest books, it's really always like exploring that edge. Um, the Android Dream of Electric Sheep is a great master. Um, and it's terrifying. It's a book about hell, basically.
Hmm.
But
It's
it's
the
magnificent.
yeah, absolutely. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. But
Sure.
I was going to say that I think it's next week is the day that is the first day in Blade Runner in the movie.
Oh, really? That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the movie's totally different from the book. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause it's a different universe.
Which is so common. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Dick was offered $1 million to rewrite the book to have the plot of the movie, and he turned it down. I just give him immense credit for that. He resisted that temptation. He wanted his
Yeah.
book to stand as the book he wrote, and not, not a movie version, not a book of the movie.
No, that's real credibility
They
and
made
character.
they made another movie from Radio Free Albemuth and put some of
Oh,
the
did I? I don't know that.
some
Yeah.
of the Valis stuff is in there. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a moment in Valis. I can take a moment to talk about that. That's okay.
Oh yeah,
There's
of course.
there's a
absolutely.
moment that is so sad because in Valis, what happens is there's this, the narrator, I guess it's called Dick, and then there's Horse Lover Fat, who's his friend of his, you the name, and then at a certain point in the book, he becomes sane, and he realizes the Horse Lover Fat is projection because it's a literal translation of Philip Dick. Horse, Philip is, I guess, Greek for horse lover, and Dick is German for fat. And so then he becomes integrated. So this projects itself, becomes integrated into conscious self, and then he's pursuing things. I forget what happened. At a certain point, he writes, horse lover fat came over today. And I thought it was one of the saddest things I'd ever read. He lost it. For a while, he was able to, pull it together and see things through perspective, and then he lost it again, And to me, that's the thing in the book that's the most powerful, not the sort of religious revelation.
I had always assumed that guy was a figment of the narrator's imagination.
Well, it's interesting because the narrator doesn't know it until he has a lucid moment, and he realizes it, and he kind of takes him back into himself, and then Horse Lover Fat comes out again, and he stops knowing. He stops knowing that it's him.
Yeah, I don't remember. I have to read it again. It's been so long. The whole idea of that the world's filled with projections and whatnot is kind of solipsistic in a way.
Exactly, very solipsistic. Yeah. Did you know that Mark Twain wrote a famous solipsistic book?
No, I'm sorry.
Which one?
It's called The Mysterious Stranger.
Mhm.
I think it was published, but it was published censored to make it seem not as weird.
Shocking, isn't it?
Because yeah, really. And at the end of it, the narrator, I've never read it. I don't know why, but at the end of it, the narrator discovers he's the only person in the universe. And everything that he thinks is the world is just an extension of him.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, this is, Mark Twain has thought it was realistic and satirical, but, not particularly fantastic and strange or weird. And, there he was writing this the most solipsistic book ever written, except maybe for Dallas.
What was it called?
The Mysterious Stranger.
I just want to put
I have a
link.
synchronicity with that. If somebody had
Cool.
just mentioned that book, I don't even know, like within this week.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that when that
Yeah, and
happens.
it's so random. I love synchronicity.
Yeah, because it's just great.
Yeah. Well, especially if something this is super random because it's way out of print. It's it's just really random. So what with it kind of in the subject, if we can stay astray here with this, because this all ties in. I mean, our whole theme of our show is really consciousness, where it's going, and all this stuff plays into our show. And so, with the idea of sci-fi writers in particular, down to yourself, there seems to be something that I have noticed, and I think everyone notices, is that especially the deeper into current times we get, there's like this kind of foreshadowing effect with great sci-fi.
Hmm.
I
Well, but
mean,
it's not the usual sense that people think. People think science fiction is about predicting technology or predicting, culture and stuff. But it's not really, because it's always at the moment that it's written. So it's a projection. But in doing that, you're projecting into stuff that's real, and so you're going to discover that there are things, in the world that come out of or reflect to some story somebody's written, even though they might not have noticed. They might not have meant it at the time to be that way. It's kind of really fascinating.
If you buy into the whole creative, co-creative, consciousness paradigm, then one could argue that science fiction creates reality.
Well,
yes.
that's true too. Yes. But I went to this wonderful book some years ago, quite a while ago now, but Whatever Happens to the Future. And it was a book about Sunday supplement predictions of what the world was going to be like, in say the 1970s, back in the 1950s. And so the flying cars and the helipads and the private jetpacks and all those kind of things, it never happened. So, science fiction has predicted loads of kind of mechanical things that never came true.
But some of those things, Rachel, are now there's jetpacks now. There's one that was debuted in France in front of the president, and he hasn't perfected it, but there's video of him riding it around. It's super cool.
Right, but it's not ubiquitous.
It took so long to do, though,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look how long it took, though, We were supposed to have those in mid-70s.
I know, but see, that's the weird thing about
this just adds to my feeling that the whole world is fake.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, seriously, technology has not really improved since the moon landings, if they even happened. But they're still shooting rockets in the air. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll tell you the one prediction that has come true, and it is Dick Tracy's radio wristwatch. It's now called the iWatch. So finally that happened,
What about the surveillance state? There are cameras everywhere now.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, that's classic.
Everything we say is being recorded somewhere.
Yeah.
But people think that people are listening with earphones. Of course, they're not. It's just trigger words. You say certain words that will cause someone to look at it, someone to, listen to the recording.
That's exactly how I participate in the show.
You're hoping, Jerry, that you'll say something that the NSA will listen to, and then they will be changed.
No, I listen for trigger words from you or Nick, from the guest.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Because I'm running the show, I'm doing chats, I'm keeping notes and everything. It's hard to. I'm a guy. I have external plumbing. One single task at a time.
But I love it when you jump in, Jerry, especially on these subjects, because you're so well versed here. Territory.
And don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm not listening, I'm just not listening closely.
Yeah,
you're doing your job. You're doing what you need to do, really,
So with all this, though, let's, this is one of the this is the fodder that we like here. I want to kind of clear out the idea of dreams with you. What do you think the major, and I know you come from a heavily psychological background, that you're really versed in those ideas. So what do you think the function of dreaming is?
Gosh, what a, you know, I think it's to, and there's certainly some functions of dreaming. It could be there are different functions. There's a simple function, which is to work out anxieties and work out tension. And often you work it out by experiencing it in a bad way. So it comes out in your dream rather than your daily life. But sometimes you work it out by experiencing an alternative, a happy dream, in which the things that are bothering you are resolved. The tension ones are more likely. That's just one level. Another level is to open the imagination to things beyond your physical perception. So to be able to create a world that's not just picking up sense perception. I think that's significant. Another level is because it's the same level as fairy tales and mythology, in which like everything works in a kind of magical way to experience magic. I don't think there's just one function. I think there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
And then
I definitely.
And then there's of course prophecy, prophetic dreams, clairvoyant.
Yes.
Dreams. You know that
that's where I wanted to go
next. In the 2 weeks or so before 9/11, people were having dreams about it all over the world, and tarot readers reported afterwards that the tower, which shows a picture of a tower crumbling on fire, was coming up in readings they did for everybody, and they could tell it wasn't those individual people. But of course, the problem is we have no way to correlate these things, so there's no way to know what happened. I do know a woman, by the way, who woke up from a dream one night. She was a psychic, very good one, in New York City, and she woke her husband and she said to him, "Terrorists are going to hijack airplanes and fly them into buildings."
Wow.
And she got up and wrote it down in an email, sent it to a friend of hers. So there is a record. But, of course, if she had gone to the FBI and told them this, she had this dream, they would have said she was not and sent her away, right?
Yeah.
And then, after it happened, if they remembered that she'd been there, they would have arrested her and accused her of being, tied to the terrorists. Because there's no framework to understand the relationship between prophetic statements of what's going to happen. A friend of mine years ago had this idea that there should be a national agency that correlates psychic dreams. Then you could see what comes true, what doesn't come true. But you can also get a sense of what's being predicted. So if enough people saw images of falling towers, the towers attacked by airplanes, that'd be something to look out for.
That would be like a wisdom of the crowd, a
Yeah.
meta wisdom of the crowd kind of view. That would be cool.
Very cool.
And in my novel, Unquenchable Fire, I borrowed my friend's idea, but I changed not to a psychic dream, people's dream, the contents of their dream. And I created this government agency called NORA, National Oniric Registration Agency. And so you would go to NORA, you would tell them your dream, write it out for them, they would feed it to their computer, and the computer would give you all the matches of people all over the world who had the same images or events in the dream. And you could see what the energy was that was going on, even if you couldn't really understand what it was, you would feel this connection to other people who had it.
That is my dream. That's a dream of mine.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to see that manifest.
Yeah. And in my book, in the novel, of course, she's had a dream, the main character, and she knows there's something really up about it. It's very disturbing to her. She can feel there's this divine energy focused on her. She doesn't like it. So she goes to Nora to have the dream analyzed, and they come back and say, "This is not possible. It must be some kind of joke." I said, "What? There's no correlation." I said, "What? Nobody in the world dreamed anything like this on that night." And so now she knows she's really in trouble, and then she gets pregnant, which is really horrifying to her because she knows that she's being used by divine agency to bring a divine child into the world. She's really furious.
Which one of your books is this?
Unquenchable Fire. That whole book is like a dream, by the way. The whole book is written in a certain sense like a dream. Or a group of interlaced dreams.
Okay, so with all that, what about the idea? So, have you experienced deja vu, and how do you how do you parse that out in your intellect as to what's happening, what's going on there?
There was a period in my life, and I was for a number of years, but not all the time. I would sometimes experience what I called second or third level deja vu. This is a deja vu. It had deja vu about something. and but I never really found out about what it was. How to, I know that the neuroscientists people, for what they're worth, say
Exactly.
it's a kind of brain circuitry thing.
Yeah.
That the brain is experiencing an event as if it's memory, so it's not a memory, and so there's that confusion. So I don't know. Other than that, I don't have an answer, but it was a very strange thing to experience that. Then I would experience having deja vu, but having had deja vu about something. That's like third level deja vu.
I love that though. It is like wrapped within. It's like
I
that
know.
thing.
The Russian doll thing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what do you so have you with your deja vus at all? Have you ever been able to pinpoint an origin point? A lot of time, like for me, I can pinpoint them to dreams actually.
I've never done that. It's never occurred to me. I think that.
And they all do seem to be really mundane.
Really, that's interesting.
Yeah, like walking into a room. I mean, it's always something so
Oh, you're right. Yes, yeah, something simple.
non-significant.
Yeah, something not significant. Yeah.
Which I think actually for me adds to the mystique of it. Because
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
instead of like having a deja vu when have a
that's
like,
actually
really, what about walking in?
actually an interesting idea. That the ordinariness of it actually makes it more compelling, more mysterious.
Yes.
That seems like something Philip Dick would write about somehow.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But then it would open up, very strange things beyond the ordinary level. But that would be how it began.
Yeah, that would be the entry point for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. Well,
Okay, I want to get into death for a minute now. Let's go Pluto all
the way. Okay.
Okay, so you had mentioned, and anyone that may be joining us right now, Rachel already questioned, if she had died during an experience, had the dream of that died. And so, of course, showed so and this is kind of like that land of just allow ourselves the freedom to explore it, which is my everyday life anyway. What proves to you, what makes you believe that you didn't actually die? How do you qualify that you're actually living?
By the fact that I enjoy the world a lot. I enjoy the nature and people and reading and food. And to me, those are experiences of life.
So, okay, I guess we should back up. With that as a qualifier, how do you perceive what's the idea of death then? And
unfortunately, I said I don't know. I entertain all possibilities. I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by the idea of death, probably since I was 15. Probably before that, though. Stories about the land of the dead. It comes up over and over again in my writing. The land of the dead as the place of ultimate mythical power. Actually, Unquenchable Fire. I said it was the whole book's like a dream. So there's this moment in the book. I won't give the whole background, but my heroine is in great crisis, going through this thing, and she's pregnant. As they said, she's from a dream. Very disturbed about this, and then she goes in the street, and she meets, and she's in New York City, and she's had this very painful encounter with her ex-husband, going back to her mother's house. It becomes like a journey through the dream world and the land of the dead. It's a dream world. And kids keep coming up to her. First one, then two, then a whole bunch of kids. They go, Miss, where do babies come from? And she says, I don't know. She doesn't know where they come from. For her, they're pregnant from a dream. And then she meets this man who's selling chocolate chip cookies and ice cream sandwiches on the street, one street vendor. And she sees him. She recognizes he's a blessed being. He's like an angel,
Mhm.
and sent to her. And she says, please, please, why do we, there's so much suffering? Why is there so much suffering? And he says to her, only two things exist in the world, ecstasy and suffering. And we choose suffering because ecstasy is too frightening. And then she leaves. And then she goes back to her mother's house. She goes to her room, and she goes to her mother's house. Her mother was saying weird stuff to her. And she realized her mother was asleep, was dreaming, and is speaking from a dream, so she's now really scared. She goes upstairs, and she looks looks at her room. The door is closed, but light is beaming out from under it, and she's frightened. And she's about to open it, and she knows suddenly that the heavens, the spirit world, is going to show her where babies come from. And she opens the door and sees this great, like sea. It's like a dark sea with flashes of light in it. And there's these faces talking to each other. And, children, babies rising up out of it. And she realizes it's the land of the dead. And babies come from the land of the dead. And then she sees, and the people are telling each other stories. She realizes the whole book is about stories. That stories come from the land of the dead. Everything comes from the land of the dead. And she says, no, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. But she realizes it's true. That everything I didn't know what I was writing there. This is what just came to me. I mean, I was in a trance writing. I've never been in a trance when I write. But I write in a way that it's not being in a trance because you're very conscious, but things are just coming to you. You're not planning what it's going to be, The whole book was written that way. I felt the whole book was like a dream. And so that was that moment that, everything comes from the land of the dead. But what that actually means, I can't tell you. That was the inspiration. That was the moment that happened. And beyond that, I don't know. I couldn't outline it for you. I couldn't give you an exegesis of it, intellectual analysis of it. What it is.
When is that the only book that came to you kind of this way?
Well, most of my novels and even a lot of my tarot writing have some of that. That book was a sustained thing. But like I said, it was not written in any kind of trance or anything like that. Wasn't channel writing in any way. It was all very conscious work. But the sources of the engine of it was always these times of like powerful experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I try to get into that state a lot. I try to function from that state. And I call it, and the way I term it definitely now is, high state of lucidity. That's what trance kind of really
I guess
reminds
so.
me
I
of.
guess that's my version of lucidity when I write those kinds of stories.
Yeah, where you're just open and there's kind of a, I don't know. You know when when the muse is there.
Yeah. It's still your job to make it come out good,
But
make it come out well, the version of it. But nevertheless, you know when you know. Exactly. I like that.
so you said during that last little not, book, I it sparked a question I have. What are your ideas on, and this ties into the act as well, angels and demons? What's going on there?
I think that they are cultural projections of something that is um, universal, but is always every culture is channeled into something that people can comprehend. So a lot of people today say, they talk about aliens. They talk about them exactly the way people talk about angels and demons. They say, well, when people say angels and demons, they're really saying aliens. They didn't understand it. Well, I feel when we see aliens, we're not understanding it either. Nobody understands. It's always every culture has its own version of that same thing.
Yeah, it's been an observation, and same with fairies. What, Jerry?
I was just going to say, has Rachel read any of Joshua Cutchin's material?
No, yeah, I'm not saying.
He's an author who's exploring that exact subject.
Oh, really? Wow.
The first
Maybe
book of his was called
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy him, Rachel.
Trojan Feast. I think
Hang
was
on a
his
second.
first.
What's his name? Joshua?
Joshua Cutchin. Cuthtch rather, IN. I'll send you all his info. Don't worry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
Wow. Yeah, very interesting subject. Yeah. It's the same
He's
as like, yeah, the people always have their own views of death. It's always filtered through their cultural context, and yet it also is very real, you know.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's an experience.
And because it feels so real, people have to just believe that their version is real. That
Who
they
are we
can't.
to say that it's not real?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly true. Yeah. Um, I like to me, they definitely are real, but it's just that they're not real in the sense that everybody would have to see the same thing.
Yeah, because we already know that that's not the case. That you can have
Yeah.
three people standing. Who was
Yeah.
it? Soraya Azkath from the Where Did the Road Go podcast.
Yeah.
He's told the story about where he and two of his friends were out in the woods, and all three of them had a different experience with the same thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
One guy didn't see it. One guy saw something, but he wasn't sure. And Soraya saw, I know exactly what I saw.
You know the parable of the elephant and the blind
Oh yeah.
blind scholars?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like that's a great story.
Yeah. Oh, that's a classic,
Yeah.
and it really does
Every
describe everything.
I mean, some people read that story, in case listeners don't know what we're talking about. Three blind professors go to examine an elephant, and one person touches the leg. An elephant is like a tree trunk, and someone else touches, the size. An elephant is like a barn. Someone else touches the trunk. An elephant is like a snake. um, but they're usually interpreted as, the limitations of scholars, that they're blind to reality. They just have intellectual ideas. But in much, much more basic way, it's the limitations of any perception. Like, you're talking about the three people in the woods, all the same place, the same thing happened. They all experience something different.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating. That's why we do this show. Find out,
Yeah. So,
just to
well,
hear stories, because we're not going to figure it out, but as long as we can gather data and
yeah,
keep thinking about it,
yeah. And the more possible it is to be open to other people's experiences, I think the better off we are. So the whole tendency towards isolating kind of fundamentalism. I mean, fundamentalists do not have to be the version we have in the public world about fundamentalism. Kind of very ugly parody. There are some wonderfully open people who just have a fundamentalist approach to things, but the people who only their version of things is real. Everybody else has to be wrong, sinful, evil.
oh, like the
That's
left.
really. I mean, that's just a terrible thing because it means that you can't can't learn from anyone.
Mhm. I did want to ask about Doom Patrol.
Sure.
You worked on that. I didn't read about your involvement in it, so did you came in the middle, right? You didn't start it or
Oh,
create it.
no, Doom Patrol was developed in 1963.
Oh, there you go.
It was actually the same exact time as the X-Men. It might have even been the same month.
Mm.
Two different companies,
Yeah.
and almost the same exact idea. But the X-Men, unfortunately for Doom Patrol, unfortunately the X-Men got its genius early on, meaning Claremont,
Uh-huh.
who took it from a sort of like, kind of imitation of the Fantastic Four
Gotcha.
into this amazing, amazing work. Doom Patrol kind of went through various incarnations. But it was always weird. The thing about it was like Doom Patrol is a home for weird heroes, you know.
Yeah,
And then a man named my God, my mind is blank. Oh wow,
I can look it up.
oh, it's totally blanked. He's a person I revere as a writer. Anyway, he took over Doom Patrol in the I guess 80s, and he made it this real thing. Oh, his name will come. It's so ridiculous. Like I really
Paul Krupperberg,
no later, maybe earlier. Yeah.
Steve Lytle.
Nope. Look, yeah.
Oh, Grant
Oh my God.
Morrison.
Grant Morrison,
Oh
exactly.
yeah, duh.
God, how ridiculous,
I'm thinking
Mind,
60s. That's why.
mind blip, yeah.
Yeah, Grant's awesome.
So Grant Morrison, he was facing there was a challenge. So Michael Moore, not Michael, Alan Moore. Yeah, my mind is
Yeah,
blank.
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore wrote Watchmen, masterpiece,
Right.
And then people were saying, well, now that Alan Moore's written Watchmen, there's nothing else anyone could possibly say about superhero team. And so Grant Morrison took that as a challenge, came up with wonderful, surreal, strange, wild comic that I just loved. And I got the great privilege of taking it over after Grant Morrison left.
Right.
I think he didn't want anyone to do it. I think I had the sense, I never got to talk to him.
Mm.
I had the sense, though, that he really thought he should have ended it when he left because he
Yeah.
did such a perfect job. But I got to take in my own versions, but a similar kind of surreal, wild, strange,
Cool.
dreamlike, things, Bala and
Yes.
fantasies and
Mhm.
sexual wildness and stuff like this.
Sexual freedom. Well,
Yeah.
Did any of your stories make it into the TV show, or did you even see the TV show?
No, because I don't. You can only see it if you go to DCU,
Mm-hmm.
in which you have to pay, I think, $75. And I don't want, I
Yeah.
would. I don't want to see that. All I wanted to see was the Super Bowl show. I thought the trailer looked great.
I'm sure you could find a stream somewhere online that has it.
I don't think any of my characters in there. Mostly it was the old original characters.
Mm-hmm.
There were one or two of Grant Morrison characters. That was kind of good.
Okay.
Uh,
Very
and then
cool.
there's been a new incarnation of it. Gerard Way has been doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and I love what he's doing. He's brought it back to the same kind of thing that Grant and I did, and he got to talk to both of us and get our input, stuff like that. So that was great.
Yeah, that's volume 6.
Which ones were your characters?
Oh, there was some. I inherited certain characters and invented a few others. So the characters, there was, I think, one character, two characters left from the original 1960 comic. One was Chief, who was the leader.
Yep, he's in the show.
Yeah, of course he's in. There was Robot Man, who
Yep,
was
Cliff.
Cliff is he was in a car crash. All that was left of his brain, so Chief needed a robot body. So those two were there, and then most of the others were gone. Grant Morrison ended them one way or another,
Mhm.
and the ones he introduced, he didn't want other people, one in particular. But one character he did, I could do, which is a character called Dorothy, was a girl, and she was very ugly in conventional terms. That's not a value judgment. That's a
Mhm.
title judgment. And so she was isolated, and no one liked her. So she had imaginary friends, but her imaginary friends all had superpowers of their own. Each one had its own superpower.
And they could take
And
over.
yeah, and she would just call on them to
Mhm.
situations where they would need it. And Grant invented this,
Mhm.
and he hinted, it's very subtle, but he hinted in one of the issues that they were connected to menstruation or getting a period. And since a lot of my themes were sexual outlaws and sexual, people who were on the outcasts and claiming who they were and stuff like this, so I made that more explicit, and that became an issue. In fact, there was one issue I had a lot of resistance from fans. I think it's partly because the woman doing it, so I had a kind of feminist kind of thing, and they didn't like that. But at one point, I had this issue in which the Doom Patrol had to get together to deal with this menstrual flood that's about to engulf the town. And it's got cars in it and phone booths, trees. Anyway, and so some of these fans wrote in, and they were outraged. They said that I was, I think they said they were forcing feminism down their throats, which is a bit too vivid an image considering the storyline.
I bet those are the guys who hated Captain Marvel too.
Yeah, I'm sure. But they also so that was when I introduced, and then my editor said, because there was a famous negative man, this guy in bandages. He said it has to be someone people in bandages. We had this couple named George and Marion, who were from an old TV show called Topper, Cary Grant.
Mhm.
And so they were energy beings contained in bandages, because without the bandages they just would not exist. And they lived life to the fullest. They were always drinking cocktails on how they did it. We know, and they loved doing things. And they were very sexy. And then at one point they're going into town, and Dorothy, who still feels that no one's going to like her, and Cliff, who feels like a total freak because he's a robot,
Mhm.
they say to her, "How can you do it?" He says, "Do what?" How they say to them, "How can you go into the public and have people stare at you
Right.
like that? Look at you like you're a horrible freak." And they say, "Well, we think we have two choices. One is to stay home and hide in the house forever, and the other is to go out and have a good time, even if the price is to be stared at." So the others are left thinking about this. And then they go into town, and meanwhile in town we encounter two things. We encounter this villain named Codpiece.
Mhm.
Now I don't know if you know what a codpiece is.
I do.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
yeah. So it's something on a man's groin to make him look impressive.
It's like an external cup, but it's
Yeah, but
fashionable.
it's and also it's big. So
It's
make it look impressive.
dandy, is what it
Yeah.
is.
Accentuates
So-
it.
So anyway, so Codpiece was someone who felt dissed by girls in high school, and he feels that women think his penis is too small, and so he's now sort of reviving him. Gerard actually suggested having me do an issue, and I sort of reviving Codpiece as the leader of the incel movement. Feel that women are forcing him to be celibate, Anyway, because that's like who he was, So he now has built this canon as a codpiece, And the thing is, I was satirizing old comic books, particularly Green Arrow from the 1950s or so, in which he had these ridiculous weapons, this tiny little quiver on his back. There was a rocket, there was a punching bag arrow. I mean, this tiny little thing. So my idea is codpiece would have all these cannons, in his codpiece, right? So meanwhile, I also introduced in the story one of the characters became a main character, who was this transgender, at that time was transsexual lesbian character.
Coagula.
Yeah, Coagula. Coagula was like a joke name. That was her. She never used that name. She was just Kate,
Right.
But that was the name she gave. She went to the Justice League to try to become a member,
Mhm.
and we see her in this ridiculous costume. And so I even made up a name for myself, Coagula, because she has these alchemical powers.
Yeah.
She slept with the bandage guy from Grant's Run,
Mm,
and she got alchemical powers.
sweet.
So the left hand could dissolve, anything could coagulate. Solve it, coagula, famous alchemical motto. Anyway, so she ends up fighting Codpiece. So she dissolves the Codpiece with one hand and coagulates with the other, and then she gets invited to join the Doom Patrol. So people have been interviewing me about this recently. This was like the first transgender hero,
Mhm.
and they said, "Did you get a lot of problems with DC?" And I know the fans, I said, "Well, actually, no. Really, they focus on Codpiece. DC, well, my editor loved it, but he wasn't sure if we'd get away with doing it. And so the cover was going to be this great. It was going to be like a semi-photographic cover of these two women looking in amazement and adoration at Codpiece's Codpiece. Like, oh my God, And so, and so DC said that we could do it, but it couldn't be as long. It couldn't be as big. And then the reaction to some of the fans was just amazing, only a few, I have to say. Most fans were great, but several guys wrote, and they said, I was attacking them.
Oh,
personally.
dear.
I was attacking fans as sexually inadequate.
My God.
Isn't that bizarre?
It is. Everything is bizarre right now.
I know. So, and then and then Kate became this great figure because she accepted who she was. And she'd gone through all the stuff that everybody else was afraid to go through about their bodies and about sexuality. So that that's what it was about. It was about strangeness, sexuality, and it had a lot of esoteric stuff. The Kabbalistic story. The famous 50th Rabbi Isaac Luria was a character, actually 60th. And so there was a lot of that kind of material. I developed some stuff from what Grant had done, took it my own direction. I had a great time doing it. We did it for 2 years, and it ended. DC didn't feel it was selling enough copies.
Mhm.
And there have been several versions since then. And I recently someone told me that every version actually sold less than my version.
Oh, wow.
Even though one or two famous people writing it or
Mhm.
drawing it,
Well, you'll be happy to know that Cliff and the energy being mommy guy and Jane.
Yeah, Larry Trainer. Yeah,
Larry Trainer, right?
Yeah.
He's in the show, and
I know. I saw that. I think Dorothy might be in the show too, if I recall. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
her name's
Crazy
Jane.
Jane. Crazy Jane is, I believe, too.
That's her
That was
name.
Grant. That was Grant's great creation, Crazy Jane, the multiple personality woman.
Yeah, right. Well, that sounds a lot like the one who had the different personalities with powers, like Dorothy.
Yes, yeah. No, well, Dorothy had imaginary friends with powers.
Mm.
It's not the same thing. Jane could be different people.
Okay.
And each one had its own superpower. And I know that Grant had the idea she had like the I Ching, the 64 different characters,
There are, yeah,
but you only ever did a few of them, I think. In terms of
I
storyline.
think the show's shown about 10. One's really powerful.
Yeah, I hate spending all that money, but it's almost worth it to be able to see them now.
Like I said, I'm sure you can find it for free somewhere online
Maybe I should
with
try to see
a
that.
Google search. Yeah.
Because I don't want to see the other stuff, but I just want to see that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, very good. Thanks a lot. That's real interesting. I love the comics and the show, so it's very cool to talk about it. We're going to be doing like an esoteric comics show.
Oh wow!
In December with a guy named Eric Miller.
It sounds familiar. I don't know.
He's an author, artist, illustrator, and author out in Seattle. But he's done a lot of research in like Jack Kirby and Stanley and all that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Jack Kirby's one of my gods.
Yeah.
That's also that work. The New Gods thing that he did. When he left DC, it's incredible because that really is like Dream. There's stuff in there that's pure Dream material.
Absolutely.
But consciously, there's one storyline. I won't do the whole thing. That pretty much time, but in which basically one of this group of heroes called the Favorite People get captured by Darkseid, the great enemy, and are taken to a concentration camp to try to get information from them. Then the next issue, it turns out the concentration camp is basically Disneyland, and he calls it Happy Land, and they're in prison and being tortured, and you see all these people looking at them and happy and laughing and having a great time, and saying, help us, let us out. And because those people don't see what they're experiencing.
Right.
And you just know that Kirby went to Disneyland when he moved to California, moved to LA. He went to Disneyland and he had like a nightmare. He had like a terror there,
Right.
Suppose all these people are actually in cages and will be tortured. They just look like they were having a good time.
Yeah. There's actually I think it was like a creepypasta type of story about people being locked in the mascot suits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of similar. It's not the same thing. Anyway, I'll shut up about comics, and this is going to be bad. So
one more, because it's very much of a dream thing or paranoid.
No, I love this.
Oh, okay.
So he did a comic called Mr. Miracle, which is about an escape artist. Wonderful comic. And at one point, Mr. Miracle goes to challenge someone, a corporation, and the guy says something like, "I will do what you wish, leave without using any of your power, any of your tricks. What you have to do is, And then there was like the top floor or something, and then the villain pumps paranoid gas into the air. Everyone in the building becomes paranoid, and so everyone where he goes, he's being attacked, and people are trying to kill him, because they think he's a monster,
right?
He's a demon from hell. And so like you've gone to DC Comics at that point, this kind of high office building in Manhattan. I got to go there. I liked it. And you can just imagine he had this. What if all these people became paranoid, schizophrenic, having like horrible nightmares, and I was the person they saw as evil? And how would I get out? So all that stuff is, his own dreams, his own like impulses, fantasies, and the cosmic material in it, staggering.
I want to check that out.
Yeah,
I see. This stuff all plays into the stuff we talk about here. Comics and graphic novels, especially when we're talking about powers and all that. This is all stuff that is right in the dream landscape.
Yeah.
And it's just completely congruent for me.
Yeah. No, it's the type of stuff I've loved all my life. And it's so funny because like I said talking earlier, that most of my dreams are not particularly, fantastic otherworldly. They tend to be more daily life kind of stuff.
I'm the same way.
Now, but at the same time, my actual reading and my writing is more like that.
Yes.
The way people sometimes think dreams are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And maybe that's the people say our dreams compensate the part that's in our lives.
Yes.
So what I'm missing maybe is a conventional, boring daily life.
That's what I was thinking earlier.
So my dreams give me that.
Doesn't suck.
Well, right. It's that big. It's the balancing scales, and what I got.
I got it.
How you live your life is deep in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being silly because my daily life is ordinary as anybody else. But
Yeah, but
still, I
you're
mean,
people
I concern
follow
myself. I concern myself in my life and in my work, the things where I have energy that a lot of people don't. And so the compensation is to be more down to earth.
what sun sign are you?
Leo.
Do you know I assume you know
Leo.
your chart.
So Leo sun sign, rising sign Leo,
Oh,
Mercury Leo, and Pluto Leo.
oh my.
And my moon is Sagittarius. So it's fire, fire, fire.
I'm a fire and earth chart. That's a lot of Leo.
I have no earth at all. No earth at all in my chart. None.
Oh, my.
And that's one reason why I really try to ground what I do.
Yeah.
I don't like my work to be wispy. I don't like it to be concrete. I like to make everything, the dream energy concretized into real things you can really get.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Where's your Pluto?
It's Leo. Yeah. Everyone my age is Pluto. That's not a surprise.
Oh yeah, right. Your your
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah. But Pluto's such a long time.
Yeah, it was generational.
Also, almost everything in my chart is on the left side of the chart.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is, I guess, the intuitive side, the dream side, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is it evenly dispersed on the left side? Like
no, mostly it's in the top half.
okay.
But basically,
Well, that makes
a
sense.
lot of it's, and also I have almost no aspect. I don't
Really?
have squares, I don't have trines. The only aspects I have are conjunction.
Oh,
And someone told me,
nice.
an astrologer friend told me once that if she saw that chart and didn't know who the person was, I think it was someone rather simple. Simple person,
Well,
maybe a bit sort of backwards mentally,
I have no fire in my chart.
Really? How
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
So what do you think that does? How do you balance that in your life?
I don't think I do.
No? Don't seek fire?
No, not really. I'm
Yeah.
pretty placated.
Yeah.
In life generally, yeah.
Because like I said, I try to ground everything. I don't have any part.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that, but
it's a good thing to ponder. Here.
Ah.
it would totally explain my lack of excitement for things.
I suppose so, yeah. Having fire.
Right. Oh man, I can't imagine.
Well, I got one question from the audience, from an audience member.
Okay.
He wanted to know if you've been influenced by any other artists who've championed the imagination and an imaginal point of view. And he offered Kathleen Rain, Owen Barfield, Arthur Versluis, or Gaston.
I know Kathleen Rain's work.
Okay.
But see, their work, they're championing the imagination to a large extent in scholarly work, which is really, really valuable and important, and also, Sufi writing sometimes is very much about the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to do it in my, directly in my fiction and my stories, and also in my tarot writing, But yeah, I mean, I definitely look for writers with that theme, Peter Lamborn Wilson is one of my favorite writers and a good friend of mine, happily. And a lot of his work is about the power of imagination. Very scholarly work. I call him an outlaw scholar. It's a term I made up for him.
So I know the Kabbalah and stuff like that. How has magical thought played your life's work?
I actually have a certain rebellion is too strong a word, but I'm not drawn to it. It's too intellectual to me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, magical esoteric theory is too constructed. It's too diagrammatic. To me, I always prefer things. This is the dream thing, kind of things that are living, they're alive, they're changing, they're fresh every time. I love the tarot because you shuffle it, and it's a whole new thing every single time.
Yeah.
Whereas in some of the magical traditions, they fight vociferously on what is the correct placing of the cards.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So that you can't shuffle them, because then you would break down. It has to be exactly right. I find a lot of that stuff to me is just way intellectual. I have respect for it, and also I know that people have done some very powerful experiences. Some of the magic rituals, some of the rites are phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's not my path. My path is story.
Yeah. Yeah, but your stories they just feed right into all of that, strangely enough.
Oh, well, they feed off of it too.
Yeah.
But I look when I read like Kabbalistic material, I'm really looking. If I'm looking to learn stuff, of course I am. But personally, I'm looking for things that will inspire stuff. Oh, lead me to stories, lead new ideas, insights, how to see something different. That to
Yeah.
me is more meaningful than learning a structure.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. Definitely. I have a lot of rebellious tendencies that one can see looking at my chart clearly.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely all there. Um I'm wondering also, Jerry, did you ask the chat if they have any questions for Rachel? Did that already go out?
No, you just did. The bot's
cool.
been putting it in there. No one's really.
Okay.
But everyone loves you and says that. Thank you.
So, oh my God, I know this is so great. And also in the end here with all of this, what is it you're working on right now that we can look forward to coming out?
Good question. I'm working on a bunch of things, and it's unclear exactly how far any of them really are. So, two things that are more developed, more significant is a novella, a short novel about a woman she's a therapist, and she has a client who believes she's really an animal who's like imprisoned in this fake human body,
Ooh.
and she becomes fascinated by him, starts following him, and then she has this. Well, she tries to tell herself as a dream or a hallucination of people, of a woman at least, leaving her body, turning into an animal. Uh, and she gets more and more caught up in this. The story goes on, and she starts looking at her own life in terms of this, and it's very frightening to see aspects of her own life in this way. And I actually included the thing about Artemis and the dream about the bears in this story.
Oh, nice.
So there's that, and then something I've been doing for quite some time, I actually put aside. I want to go back to it is, the Tao teaching of Lao Tzu, not the I Ching text.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is 81 short, sort of elliptical, mysterious statements. They're actually very plain statements, but they're plain in a way that you can tell right away that they're not plain. They have many levels, you know. And so I've been doing a kind of English, what I call English rendition of this. I don't know ancient Chinese at all, any Chinese. But there's a book called, I think it's called Total Tao Te Ching, something like that. Complete Tao Te Ching, by a man named Starr. And he gives the possible English translation usage for every character. So each line is all the characters, and each character says what might be the possible English mean. So I have that, and then I have translations by scholars to give me a sense of the agreement that people have of what's being said. And then I just try to render it in very direct, simple language that will have certainly a kind of quality and rhythm to it, but will not change anything. Will not editorialize. And most of their translations, every single one I've ever seen, changes stuff to say what they think it's supposed to say. Give an example. This line reads simply, Tao, Tao, not Tao. Character for Tao, the character for Tao, the character for negation, the character for Tao. Okay, so it has to be some. The Tao that is something is not the Tao. No? Now the word Tao, besides meaning path or way or energy, also can mean told, tell, no? Or
Yes.
walked. So some people, minority people, say the Tao that is walked is not the Tao. But since Lao Tzu talks a lot about walking the Tao, the other one's more likely. He says, so the Tao that can be told is not the Tao. Very simple statement. But people who do the translations are sure that no one's going to understand that. So they add something. They say, the Tao that can be told is not the everlasting Tao. The Tao that can be told is not the true Tao, not the eternal Tao. But none of those words are in the text. You know? There's no character of everlasting or eternal. So I just try, knowing nothing, I try to stick to what's there. Not believe I know what to say. And when I first told people I was doing this, a lot of people were offended.
Really?
very arrogant to me. Try to do this without knowing anything, not knowing Chinese at all. Also, without knowing any Taoist teaching. You know, they would recommend books to me to read to get some real basic Taoist knowledge. You know? And I did my best to read the titles immediately. And I certainly absolutely never read any of them. I will after this is done, because I don't want to be infected by scholars telling me what it's supposed to be about.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. There's a purity.
That's exactly why I don't read.
Anything at all, yes. so I sent a quote on this one passage that says something like, in pursuit of Tao, something is lost every day. In pursuit of knowledge, something is gained every day. In pursuit of Tao, something is lost every day. Lost and more lost until you know nothing. and I know the famous line, do nothing and nothing will be left undone.
Yes.
So I don't remember if it says know nothing and nothing will be left unknown. Probably something like that, but until you know nothing. I
I
do
love
nothing,
your
nothing will be left
approach on
unknown.
this of just going through and translating what's there.
Well, yeah, and I call it English rendition. I'm not translating. I'm using someone else's
Right,
real
right.
translation. But yeah, but that's what's going there.
And also not front loading yourself with everything.
I do have to admit that I see some tarot things in the work. I see the Fool as the Tao.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see that.
I was just giving a lecture about this. I was at this wonderful conference in New York City, and I was giving a tarot talk. And it talks about the first 4 cards in the Age of Arcana, which in modern decks are the Fool, which is 0, then 1, 2, 3, the Magician, the High Priest, and the Empress. And I said in the Tao Te Ching, he says, out of the Tao comes the 1, out of the 1 comes the 2, out of the 2 comes the 3, out of the 3 come the 10,000 things, meaning everything in the world. So what I said was, out of the Fool comes the Magician, out of the Magician comes the High Priestess, out of the High Priestess comes the Empress, out of the Empress comes everything else.
Yes.
And so the Fool is 0. So Alan Moore, in his own tarot work that he did in Common Prometheus, he said the greatest magic act is something to come out of nothing.
Yes.
The Magician to emerge from the Fool. But then if you take the Magician and the High Priestess, that's 1 plus 2, that's 3, and that's the Empress.
Yeah.
It's actually composed of the Magician and the High Priestess together.
And there's also the idea that the Empress is kind of like the great Yoni too,
Yes, yeah, that's right. The Mother
So-
Goddess, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that aspect. So when can we expect this?
Well, I don't know,
It's
I have to try to finish the novel, and I've been sidetracked on a whole bunch of other things. Travel and lectures, and trying to bring some other stuff back in print and a possible graphic novel. But I want soon to get back to that, and then when that's done, I think I will finish the Dowdy. No, I might do that first.
and so the graphic novel you're working on.
That's an adaptation of a story of mine, short story, and I'm doing with Robert Place, we talked about before, the tarot artist.
Yeah.
So he's done some beautiful art for it. It's called Forever. And the story is about the goddess of death, who's simply called Our Lady of Forever, or just Forever.
Oh, I love that.
And her sisters are called Ocean and Sky. And they meet, and the sisters are always Sky is always taunting her, and Ocean is innocent. He just thinks it's fun, And they play this game, I won't say how the game goes, but whoever loses has to inhabit a skin body, a mortal being, for a day, 24 hours, And so they kind of trick Forever, and she loses. So she chooses this nondescript woman who doesn't have much of a life, so she won't get all caught up, But as soon as she enters the woman's body, she forgets who she is. And so the story is about the life she has as this woman, and how she's forced to remember who she is at the end of the story. Doesn't want to.
Oh.
And so it's kind of a love story, and it's a tragic story. I'm very excited to see it brought into another medium.
I'm excited for all this.
Yeah.
It's good that you have so much going on too.
Always too much. I can't resist the ideas.
Yeah.
I have a book I want to do about dreams. I want to describe now. It'll happen, but it's not.
So by what means may people find your work and get a hold of you? As far as like the standard plug here.
Well, I have a website, www.rachelpollack.com, but it's always out of date because it's an old code, so I can't find people to keep it up to date. So I think I have to redo it.
What kind of code is it?
I don't remember now. This was some years ago.
Is that why you snickered when I said 41 bucks?
Actually, it's 43 bucks.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I heard
it.
But
so there's that. That's all information about me, and information of my art, and Shine Tribe Deck, and so on. Because then there's my blog, rachelpollack.wordpress.com. That's also intermittent because I'm always doing other stuff. And the most up-to-date stuff is on my Facebook page, which is just Rachel Pollack, obviously. You know?
And you'll find links to all these in the show notes and the description of this video.
Yeah, and I will put a link up to this on my Facebook page.
Great, thank you. And I already tagged you in the Facebook post from us, so I'm sure you'll find it really easily.
That will just come up and I can just share it. Great, wonderful.
Great, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know, I've been doing a number of podcasts recently because there's a lot of them now, and people have asked me, you know. And this was just great. I just love doing this. I thought we were on the same, you know, little radio cliche, the same wavelength, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really just enjoyed our whole conversation. So thank you very much.
So do we. Thank you. And
yes, thank you, Rachel. This was a treat. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next week with an obelisk show, right? No, next week? Full moon next week? Hello?
Yes,
Bueller?
the obelisk is next.
Oh, good. Wow.
Yeah, our new show is called The Obelisk, and it's on the night of the full moon, or the day as close to the full moon as we can get. But we were going to have Nathan Lee, whatever the
Nathan Lee Miller, yeah.
Yeah, Nathan Foss. A cult fan's going to be here. It's going to be a good time. So, have a good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you next